Welcome to River Tales. On this edition, we'll meet artist and instructor Robert Friedrich from Cape Central High School. We'll take a trip to the Mingo National Wildlife Refuge. Chris Hrabik has an inspirational story to share, and we'll visit his shop at Apple Creek Metalworks. And finally, on one Saturday each month, Wellenberg Theaters in Cape Girardeau hosts Sensory Saturday for children with special needs. River Tales is sponsored by Southeast Health.
In the world of healthcare, 2014 brought many new questions. You need people on your side to help you find answers. Southeast Health is here. From wellness and diagnosis to treatment and rehabilitation, we bring it all together to bring you simpler solutions for healthcare. Call us or visit sehealth.org/simpler. Southeast Health. The difference is how you're treated.
I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. You're not going to find any better facility, and you're not going to find any better doctors or staff members either. Everyone that's been through treatment has a rock there in that garden. I said, in this place, find care, compassion, hope, healing, and love. It's obvious that they care. I can't praise them enough. I'm their biggest fan.
The most part I got into art was that I had some inspiration as far as when I was in high school. And the teacher that I had was Hrabik, and he just passed away about this past month. He was my high school art teacher, and he really kind of got me to where I could see what it would be like to be an art teacher, as far as, you know, the relationship between artist, art teacher, and student in a classroom. And I seemed to like that environment that he kind of had for us, you know. But I think that was pretty much set off to the side as far as wanting to be an art teacher. As I went into the military, joined the military, I kind of bummed around for a while and really didn't have any direction at all once I graduated high school. And I think once I had gotten in the military and got a little bit more discipline about, you know, studying, I decided to go to college and, of course, major in the only thing that I was ever really good at in high school, and that would be art. When I was growing up, I did a lot of it on my own. I was self-taught. But as far as inspiring me to become what I've become, I'd say Hrabik, and I'd say my mother. You know, my mom inspired me to stay in school and get an education. Well, I've taught here for 18 years. I think this is my 18th year. Sometimes it goes by kind of a blur. But I teach ceramics 1 and 2, and I teach sculpture. And with me and the other 2 art teachers, Miss Susan Cohen and Beth Thomas, we have a very well-rounded program. We dominate, and we like to dominate. We like to show that we have a proud program. Who is the arts for? I think the arts, that's the sad thing, I think, about the arts, you know. People just drop out. I think sometimes the parents might influence them to drop out, you know. They'll start asking questions like, what is that, you know? Instead of tell me what that is, you know, or explain your picture to me in elementary school, you know. And I think it's sad. I think art's for everybody. I mean, it doesn't matter how talented you are, you know. If you enjoy expressing yourself, express yourself. You don't have to impress anybody. I don't do my artwork to impress anybody. So what do I want my students to get out of my particular class is a sense of what the arts are. I get a sense of paying attention to detail and craftsmanship. But I also want them to get out that, you know, the projects we do is mature enough that they can enjoy it for the rest of their life, you know, that it could be on a shelf and be displayed within their own home. And I'm hoping that the stuff that the kids make in my class is stuff that they hold on to, you know, and that they have some pride in what they do and pride in their work. And I try to make sure that they understand that craftsmanship and the pride, you know, goes beyond just what they do in my classroom. We all have different aesthetics, you know, what we liked and disliked, you know. And I like to see that style and that personality, that influence that they might have gotten here pour over into their, you know, their home life, you know. The way they decorate their home, or the way they might decorate their yard, or how, you know, how they take care of stuff. And I think that's even true for me, you know. I mean, my favorite thing to do in sculpture is to take found objects and then incorporate those into my human figures. And I think I do the same thing with my everyday life, or even with my yard. And these are my water meters I use for walking steps. I just kind of like to recycle everything. I have I like rusty junk, but we always like to recycle, and I always like to find, because a lot of my sculptures have a lot of found objects in them, so I like to even, you know, utilize my yard if it's a live sculpture, you know. So everything I plant, I have no rhyme or reason. Sometimes that drives people insane. I don't know, I don't like anything very symmetrical. I don't like that look that people have in their houses now, where they got 3 bushes here and 3 bushes here, and you got 4 red bushes there. You got flowers planted in exactly the same location as they are on both sides of the house. And to me, that's just boring. The fire pit is this actually came out of the house next door, so I tore down the old fire pit and rebuilt the new fire pit. And we even did a Joker's head. And the Joker, if you get flames going really good inside, he'll actually spit some flames out and a lot of smoke out of his mouth and out his ears. So we kind of enjoy that. I bought these hands, which are kind of weird. They're actually molds used in a factory for rubber gloves, for industrial gloves. So I have them looking like they're coming out of the ground, and they're kind of bracing the watering can. But anyway, we use sewer pipe. We'll reuse some of the pipes and stuff. Everything, my fence going around my yard, that's all been recycled. It's actually parts of an old gazebo that I found in the scrap yard. Parking meter that came from uptown Jackson. Got that stuck in the flower bed for no reason. That's our chicken coop. And the chicken coop is made out of recycled doors. So we got recyclable doors, everything on it's been recycled. And of course Tate has the chickens out. We have them out quite a bit. And this section back in here is just the garden, where we have our tomatoes and our squash and beans and stuff. And the old light that's on the side of the garage, that came off of, supposedly comes off one of the bridge lights off the old Cape Girardeau Bridge. And I redone it, rewired it, and hung it up there. And of course our scarecrow, our magnificent scarecrow here. The gas can came off of my grandfather's farm. It was in the junkyard, or a scrap pile. And my son wanted me to do something with it, so I did. So again, trying to find things to do with our recyclable stuff. Well, when we built the 2-car garage, we had one section of concrete left to pour, and you know, everybody puts their hands in the concrete, you know, and then they put the date or how old your child was, you know, and stuff like that. I decided I was going to lay out a thin sheet of drop cloth. We laid that on top of the concrete, and we took my son, who was 5 years old at the time, and we laid him down in the cement, and then we kind of stepped on him and got him to sink down. So now I have this great little spot that reminds me of my child. The only problem is I got a feeling when I get older, in my 80s and stuff, I'll probably end up tripping over it and have to have a hip replacement. So, but we like it, and a lot of people think it's kind of weird that I did my entire son, but That's what it's all about.
Mingo is part of the National Wildlife Refuge System. It encompasses over 550 refuges located throughout the entire United States. Mingo is part of the Midwest region. They call it the Great Lakes and Rivers region. And so it's just one of 9 refuges located in the state of Missouri. 25,000 years ago, the Mississippi River actually used to run through what is now Mingo Refuge. So the refuge is actually an abandoned river channel of the Mississippi River. 18,000 years ago, surging glacial meltwaters and probably an earthquake caused the river to shift more towards its current path east of here. But it left behind this pristine, low swampland that you see here today. The first inhabitants of the refuge dates back to roughly 7,000 years ago. There's archaeological evidence that Native Americans used the swamp not necessarily for a place to live, but as a seasonal place to go and hunt. The rich swampland, you know, with beavers, turkey, deer, ducks, and fish, it was plentiful with a diversity of wildlife. And it wasn't until the mid to late 1800s that settlers started to come here and to try and profit on the resources here. And there was that mindset that you know, resources were unlimited, so there wasn't much selective harvesting. It's basically they took everything. Well, with that mindset, it didn't take long. You know, from 1900 to like 1910, they harvested quite a few trees, and by 1915, basically all of it was cleared. All the trees were cleared and harvested on the refuge. Even though the trees were gone, the settlers still looked to the Mingo Basin as a source for economic value. And with the trees gone, the next thing they looked for was farming, for agriculture. You know, most of southeast Missouri today, if you drive towards the Mississippi River from here, most of it is agriculture. And most of that land was at one time similar to what you see here at Mingo. A lot of the trees were cleared, and then once they cleared, they started to put in drainage districts to try and drain the swampland, to drain that low area to make it suitable for agricultural purposes. And they attempted to do that here at Mingo. By the 1930s, the attempt to drain this was given up on. And for a short time period, this was kind of a free-for-all. So it would have looked a lot different from what you see today. It wasn't until 1944 that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service came in and set aside roughly 22,000 acres in the Mingo Basin to become Mingo National Wildlife Refuge. The main mission when it was established, and it continues to today, is to provide a sanctuary for migratory waterfowl and other migratory birds, and then to protect the bottomland hardwood forest habitat. Southeast Missouri was once roughly 2.5 million acres of bottomland hardwood forest. Well, now today, Mingo and Duck Creek, which is a neighboring state conservation area, consists of the largest remaining tract of bottomland hardwood forest in Missouri today. So it really is a remnant of what southeast Missouri used to look like. And not only is this place a place for wildlife, that's our primary mission, that's always what it's going to be, wildlife, provide a habitat for wildlife, for migratory waterfowl, that comes first. But it's also a place for people to enjoy. Not only people now, but for future generations to see what southeast Missouri used to look like, and then to see the wildlife that relies on this habitat.
I was having pain in my hip.
He probably went through about 2 years of pain thinking, oh, it's going to go away, but it didn't.
I decided to go to Southeast Health. After my surgery, I come out pain-free. I don't know how else to say it, the pain's gone.
It has made a huge difference. It has just been a 100% turnaround for him. He's just back to his old self again.
My name's Chris Hrabik. I'm the owner and operator of Apple Creek Metalworks and a rally car driver. My shop's located 2 miles east of Highway 72 on Highway K, just past Cedricville. What happened to me as far as my accident and my injury, July 13th, 2004, I was involved in a vehicle rollover as a passenger, and I was unbelted and broke my C5 and 6 vertebrae in my neck. And that's, technically I'm a quadriplegic, even though I've got a little bit of hand use. Ever since high school I was always working construction. I used to be a concrete finisher, so I've always liked to build things. And for my sister's wedding in 2011, I decided to build her a big sunflower sculpture. Just to kind of one up everybody else's gifts and you know, get something that's not on the list. So I just built her one just for a present, and everything just kind of steamrolled after that. I never particularly had an interest in metalworking, I just had an interest in building things. And as soon as I realized that building these things could start a business, I just went with it. In spring of 2012, with the encouragement of Appleton Mercantile Company, who's been a big part of helping this car get going, they encouraged me to start a business, saying that they could be, you know, the things that I built could be sold. And made my first sale there, and that just kind of got me motivated and interested to build a little bit of everything. I built a custom Japanese soaking tub for a doctor in Cape. I built the breast cancer ribbons for Southeast Hospital last year, and the new one that they have at the Cancer Center that's on permanent display. But I've built custom signs for people's houses and cabins. It's such a wide array of, I don't know, I have to go back and look. Primarily it's custom work with people's names and stuff, like fire rings and signs, and you know, I'm just interested in making customers happy with whatever they want. I want to continue my business and keep expanding it and keep it going and being successful. People can call or email me anytime to build. If they have an idea, I prefer email, because then they can either send me a sketch or send me a picture of something they liked. And then we just kind of talk about it over the phone for a little while, and then I get to work. Yeah, you know, they call me, and like I said, call me anytime. I'm open pretty much 7 days a week. I'm always here. Surround myself by my more important tools. Plasma cutter, welder, the projects, work projects. And then I got my welding table. At welding or cutting, I hook all the grounds to the table. I don't have to clamp onto individual pieces. And that way I don't have to deal with the cables. I just clamp them on there, and as long as the metal's touching the table, I can go through and cut whatever I need to cut and all that. And then I got my acetylene torches over here for gas welding or brazing. Like I said, it's just kind of my little circle of everything's kind of within arm's reach. Makes it easy for me. The whole reason I started the business was so I could build this rally car and compete in rally car racing as a driver. So that would be my main hobby interest. It's a motorsport that's hard, and I don't know if I'm just drawn to challenging things or what it is. But I grew up kind of mudding trucks and being all, you know, we lived out in the country. We liked off-road stuff and, you know, county road cruising. And rally just combines everything that I like. It's off-road racing, it's sliding around corners, it's jumps and dips, and then the logistics of the whole event is so complicated because everything's timed to the minute. It's just really challenging even before you get to the start line. And then after that, it's, you know, still challenging, probably even more so. So it's hard, but I get to go, you know, I grew up hiking in the Ozarks around Tomsock Mountain and all that, me and my dad. And obviously I can't hike up the mountains anymore, but I get to race around the mountains now. So that was another big draw to it, to kind of go back to where I used to play around before I got hurt and still play around, just a lot faster. But I also kayak, and I'm a certified scuba diver. I love to fish, especially fly fishing, and I kayak around here on whitewater. And so fishing, racing, and working. That's pretty much what I do. And I like skydiving too. It's fun. But I've also started being trained to be a motivational speaker, so I can go to high schools and talk about road safety and just kind of talk about my story to hopefully inspire or at least motivate or convince them that, you know, wearing a seatbelt is not a bad thing, you know. It's not uncool to do it, to wear it. So that's one other aspect. I want to continue trying to get the funding and get the documentary going, because that'll also be kind of geared towards hospitals. So then, whether, you know, I would like to be there talking to every single new patient, new injury, but I can't be. But I figure with a short, you know, 30-40 minute movie or documentary, I can kind of be there without being there, because I kind of want to be the guy that I wish I had met in the hospital. Give people a little more options about what they can do. So that's kind of where everything's kind of gravitating towards, is more the speaking and motivational side of everything. And then also use the rally car as kind of a focal point and a tool for everything, because this was my motivation to go back to school, start the business, and do everything I'm doing now was because of this. And I want to tell people that find your passion, go for it. There's no day that should be wasted. There's always something you can do. There's always something better than just sitting around on the couch all day. You know, we live a really short time in the grand scheme of everything, and we only live here once. So live every day like it's your last, to a point. Don't go crazy, but you know, if there's an opportunity, don't pass it up just because maybe you're a little tired or maybe you just don't feel motivated that day. If there's opportunities in front of you, go for them and do whatever it takes to do it. It's all worth it, because the very first time I lined up at the start line, finally was doing what I always wanted to do. Yeah, I just want anybody to know, whether disabilities or non-disabled or just everybody, you know, success isn't given to you. For the vast majority of us, we have to work hard for what we get, self-determination and pushing through to the next day to become successful. And everybody measures success in different ways. Success to me is reaching whatever goal you set for yourself. You know, it's not necessarily successful as far as making the most money. You know, I'm successful because I successfully drove my car at a rally. So I'm already successful, and I'm just going forward from here. But it took 6 years of really hard work to get to this point. Live as if you die tomorrow, dream as if you live forever.
In February of 2010, we actually started our first show of Sensory Saturday. We have them every third weekend of every month now. It's on Saturday at 10 a.m. You know, through those programs, we're able to leave the lights fully lit so it's not so dark that it scares the children. The house lights, you know, they're halfway down. The volume is left at a normal level. We turn it down. When the movie starts, we actually turn it off. And we get it to the right level to where the people in the auditorium can enjoy the movie without having it to be scary or overbearing because of any disability that they have.
Sensory Saturday was something that I had heard of in Columbia, Missouri that was going on, and I thought would be interesting for kids and families in this area. I talked to a lot of families, and we do community outings, and one of the concerns was that, you know, they'd like to take their kids to the movie, but they weren't able to, or they were nervous, they were scared, you know, what would happen. And so when I saw the Sensory Saturday, I thought that would be a great opportunity to have down here.
Lynn, Hopper, autism, professional asked me to help her start a Century Saturday movie, talking to Kevin Dillon, the manager here at Westport Cine. And from there we started it up.
Mike already had a team of people, families that he had email addresses for, and they had talked about the movie, whether they would want to show movies for the families. With this program, the family can come out, they can enjoy it, the kids, the adults can make noise, get up, walk around, move around as much as they want to.
Sensory Saturday has grown. The number of families that participate has only increased, and the theater has done a great job picking movies that really attract a high number of people. We not only have individuals with autism coming to these Sensory Saturday events, but we have families with all sorts of disabilities and kids that, again, would typically not have this experience if it weren't for Weyerberger Theaters and the folks who initiated that.
I had hesitated to take Emma to the movies, to regular shows, but because of her behavior, we were afraid we would have to leave or that she would disturb other people in the movie. So we love the freedom of Sensory Saturday, the tolerance if she does get up and dance or sing or those kind of things. That's welcome and that it's okay and we can stay and watch the movie.
The Missouri Senate actually gave us a proclamation because of the Sensory Saturday, which was a very nice gesture, just to recognize us for participating and providing some type of service here to where the families can actually bring their children or bring anybody with autism or other disabilities to the movies, which normally they may not have been able to do. But with this program, the Senate recognized us, gave us the proclamation, which was a very nice gesture from them, and we very appreciated it very much.
Thanks for watching River Tales. Each month we'll travel the region to meet fascinating people, highlight important events, and find new places to discover. Join us again for River Tales.